What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and the Christmas season is officially drawing to a close, and that means that gaming development studios and publishers and pretty much news sources, everything is kind of winding down and everyone's just enjoying time with their families and whatnot, so there isn't much gaming news going on. That being said, I'm taking this opportunity to share one of my most formative, significant gaming experiences of my entire life. I'm going to sit down and tell this story to you guys, mainly because I kind of want it on video, just because I'm sure that as I get older, I'll probably end up forgetting some of the minute details that I have going on here. But this is one of the biggest Christmas presents I ever got, and it was my 80 gigabyte fat black PlayStation 3. Alright, so there's a little bit of a build-up for this story. So we have a family reunion, or we used to have a family reunion in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is about 4 or 5 hours away. Now at this time, I was rocking a PlayStation 2 and a Wii combo with a PlayStation Portable. So we were going on this family vacation for like 4 or 5 days, I would say, and I was looking forward to spending some time on my PSP. Now, I catch wind that my sort of cousin, sort of not cousin, he's not directly related, but he has kind of that official status in the family, Nick is bringing his PlayStation 3 with Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which in my mind is revolutionary because I'm playing Call of Duty 3 on the PlayStation 2, I'm playing PSP, I'm over here breaking records on Wii Sports Bowling. To play Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is something that I really was wanting to get my hands on, but of course as a kid I don't have any kind of access to this, so I was seeing this as my opportunity to kind of get a look at the next generation of PlayStation that I had access to during that time. So we get to Gatlinburg, and of course I'm spending time with family, I'm playing some PSP, and so Nick comes over and he's like, hey man, you want to play some PlayStation? And I'm like, yeah, I want to play some PlayStation. So we go, and I kid you not, I think I've told this story before on the channel, but not in an official video. For 3 days straight, it was like, wake up, biscuits and bacon and sausage, because, I was a fat kid back then. So biscuits and bacon and sausage, sitting down, playing this kid's PlayStation 3, grinding out Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare on this shitty campground Wi-Fi. And it was at that point that my life entirely and completely changed, because I had just played PlayStation 3, I had just played Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, what many consider to be the best multiplayer experience of all time, and I knew exactly what I had to get for Christmas that year, because there was no way I was going to live without having this in my possession back at home in the comfort of my own bedroom for hours upon weekends, upon months, upon years on end. Now, of course, like I think I mentioned, this was taking place in October. This family reunion was pretty much in the middle towards the end of October, and so, you're getting kind of geared up in your mind for Christmas. So, of course, the Christmas tree went up like a month later, and as soon as that tree went up, as some kind of offering to Santa, because Santa was still some kind of big thing for me, or to leave a note for Santa or something along those lines, when I was in class at school, I began drawing detailed schematics of a PlayStation 3, like here's the power button, here's the power supply, here's where the HDMI goes in. Of course, I didn't even have a television that used HDMI back in the day, but that's beside the point. I was drawing detailed schematics and writing big letters to Santa Claus of what the PlayStation 3 was and why I needed it, and folding them up nicely and popping them in the middle of the Christmas tree just in case he found one whenever he came to drop off whatever gifts I might be getting at my home that holiday season. I don't know what I was thinking either. I was pretty much grasping for straws because I really wanted a PlayStation 3. So let's go ahead and fast forward to December 24th of 2007, the year that we did do this whole Gatlinburg thing. This is pretty much fourth quarter, fourth down and long. This is like the final drive of Christmas. I am pumped. I have like 20 detailed PlayStation 3 schematics shoved in the middle of the Christmas tree, and so I go to bed. Now, of course, I cannot sleep that night. I wake up at like 4:30, and of course, my mom has this rule, or had this rule, where I have to lay in bed until 6:30 because it was insane for anyone to get up at 4:30 and open a PlayStation 3. But so I'm laying there, and I'm like, oh God. And I'm like checking the time, I'm like going like this. And so, of course, finally 6:30 does roll around. I get up, I dart out into the hallway. And of course, like I said, I'm a big boned kid. And big boned is other words for fat. And so I like do this slide into the living room. Sounds like he dropped a ton of bricks. And then I start diving into these gifts as my parents are kind of getting their pants on and getting coffee and whatnot. And I start diving in. Now, I see this big PlayStation 3 shaped box. I'm thinking it's probably about that wide, maybe about that tall, about that thick, because this is the thick with 2 C's. This is the thick PlayStation 3. So I saved that one for last, mainly because my mom told me to, mainly because I also wanted to save the surprise. But so I dived directly into the stocking, and lo and behold, I find Madden 09 with Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers on it, I believe. Not for my PlayStation 2, as you might expect, or my Wii, as would be really disappointing, but rather a shiny, with the old PlayStation 3 logo down the spine of the game box, Madden 09. And so I'm like, okay, so if there's a PlayStation 3 game here, 90% of me says there's a PlayStation 3 like within 10 feet of me right now. So I just start digging into the rest of the gifts. And of course I get socks, I get underwear, I get shirts, I get a couple of Wii games, I get some PlayStation 2 stuff. And then I find another PlayStation 3 game by the name of Fracture. Now Fracture was an underrated game. It was not that great. I feel like it's something that I don't regret playing, but that's beside the point. Both Madden 09, which I was into at the time, Madden was kind of like my big thing. I loved Madden 05 and Madden 06. But between Madden 09 and Fracture, I knew that a PlayStation 3 had to be in here. So after we had gotten kind of everything else out of the way, I am remained with this large PlayStation 3 shaped box that I was just absolutely dying to dive into. And so, of course, lo and behold, I did. As I start, like, I made this little incision right in the middle, and I started kind of pulling it apart like you're ripping open some kind of chest cavity or something. And so I rip this apart, and I come across this. This is the PlayStation 3 80GB fat version that does not come with any games or anything whatsoever aside from the start disc, and unless you count PlayStation Home as a game, which is shut down now. But here it is. I finally got it, my PlayStation 3 80GB fat version. I have it, which was a pricey gift back then, and 2 games that will hold me over, but I still wanted just a little bit more because I needed, in my life, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and I definitely needed to get in on some of that MotorStorm action because that was the crispest, the best looking, the most impressive racing game that I had ever seen. And so for December 26th, I took some of my money, I traded in my PlayStation 2 stuff, for some reason kept the Wii, maybe because of Guitar Hero, and I took my ass to Play and Trade. Okay, so my dad took me to Play and Trade because, you know, I was like in 6th grade at the time, but I pull up there with a box full of PlayStation 2 stuff and games, and I'll go in there, and they gave more money than GameStop did at the time. They're kind of like a smaller version of GameStop. They're not family owned, but they are smaller, and so I think I got right around $250, which is definitely significant for me. So I go start looking around the store, and I'm saving my cash. I find one controller, which I think was $50 at the time. I find MotorStorm, which I think was $30 at the time, so I'm up to 80 right now. And then I find Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. But that's not all. I find the Game of the Year edition used, which is something that's very impressive for me. Now, you might be thinking, what's special about the Game of the Year edition? It comes with DLC packs. And lo and behold, I get home after spending that money and I put it in and install the game and I boot it up, and that DLC code that is normally redeemed within the used game box, it was full on ready to go. I got the DLC packs too, which is something I didn't play in Gatlinburg. So I had new content for the game that I absolutely fell in love with 2 months earlier on a brand new console that is in the comfort of my own home. Now, I will say that I was playing this on a 14-inch white JVC television that you could probably pick up at a Kohl's, but it was still those games on that console that I absolutely fell in love with earlier that year. So ultimately, between a little bit of Fracture, tons of Madden, tons of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, like I'm talking hundreds of hours of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and on top of that, even MotorStorm, the PlayStation 3 laid the foundation for who I would become as a gamer, and eventually solidified that love I had for the PlayStation brand, eventually leading me to buy the PlayStation Vita on day one, the PlayStation 4 on day one by camping out at Target, and it pretty much has just built me up to be who I am today, and it's a very, very significant gift that I've gotten in the past, and in my opinion, the most interesting and heartwarming story from my entire gaming career. Now that PlayStation 3 actually still exists, is still used. I actually sold it to somebody I ended up dating, but that kind of didn't work out, so I ended up getting some money for the PlayStation 3 fat, but the last I heard it was still used for Netflix somewhere in Western Virginia, so we'll just leave it at that. The thing's still out there, it's still kicking, and of course that PlayStation 3 was my main console until 2013 whenever I got an Xbox 360 and started digging into Mass Effect and Halo and all these other, you know, kind of exclusives, and then of course I switched over to PC mainly, but I have the PlayStation 4, all that good stuff, but mainly that PlayStation 3 served me very well from 2007 all the way up until 2013, I would say is a pretty good estimate, and it was a trooper, man. that was a good console. So I hope you have enjoyed my little story of my PlayStation 3. If you did, drop it a like down below and share it on social media if you did enjoy it, and leave me a comment down below about your favorite console that you have ever had or your most interesting gaming story. I would love to hear about that. And if you happen to be new here, I do upload new stuff throughout the week, and I'm going to start streaming on Twitch, and of course all of these links are in the description box down below. But as for right now, I'm going to go play some more of this seasonal Overwatch before this event expires. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.